Hello, and welcome to Jones Business Management and Growth Consultants. We are going to be doing our video today on servant leadership. So I want to start off first by welcoming a few of my clients from both California and Texas today who are joining us, and also our school community. If you are seeing this from school, welcome. The community is growing, and I'm looking forward to being able to offer help to everybody and also see the help that each other can provide to others when they have questions. And so we're going to start our presentation here. If you have questions, please use the chat feature here in the meeting to send them to me. And once we finish the presentation, we will try and answer as many as we can. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to share the screen. And here we go. So, okay, servant leadership, leading by serving others. There are multiple styles of leadership, and this is one that fits most for me personally. I do use things from, other people's types of leadership that I've picked up over the years. My brother-in-law called them tools in your tool belt. But the majority of how I lead is this way because it resonates with me. I like to serve people. I'm empathetic, and I prefer to have the whole team approach. But maybe some of this won't work for you, so I would encourage you to at least look and see if there's anything here that resonates with you. And if it doesn't, that's fine. But always be looking for things in what people, in the examples of other people's leadership that maybe do resonate with you and that you can start to make a part of your daily routine when leading. Okay. I believe that we can create impact through service and empowerment with a team. So, what is servant leadership? We have the definition is a leadership style where the leader's primary focus is to serve their team and their organization. Um, I guess it would be a good thing to identify what serve means. Some people, when they hear it, think that it means, you know, like bring them lunch or something like that. And that can be good, to actually feed them sometimes to show that you care about them. But it's actually, serving their needs, serving their growth, serving their education, serving them in the respect that you help them to grow, both in business and personally. Okay. The servant leader is servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one wants to serve. And this is a quote from Robert K. Greenleaf. So, what are the core characteristics of servant leadership? Well, listening is important, understanding the needs of the team, empathy, where you build meaningful connections. We have foresight, anticipating challenges and outcomes, and then stewardship, managing resources ethically. And resources doesn't necessarily mean like the financial aspects of the business or the equipment, but the resource of your people, their time, their well-being, managing those and effectively using them and giving them breaks or ways to recharge is a very good way to show stewardship for your business. And another one is commitment to growth, investing in the personal and professional development. And I gave this its own page because I think this is probably one of the most important aspects that I've found when leading a team is to help them figure out where they're short, in skill sets, but also where do they want to be? I mean, the job that they have may not be the dream job for them. It may be just something to pay the bills. Is there something in your organization that they aspire to? Is there something outside your organization that they aspire to? Help them get there, even if it means that they leave, even if it means that once you've gotten them to a certain point, they leave. If people know that you are committed to more than just what they can bring to the company while they're there at the company, the majority of them are going to give it their all. And the other benefit is that when they do go out and they, attain a different position, or if even if they stay in your organization and they attain a different position, when they are talking about your organization, they will always say, I got to where I am now because of what I learned there, what I learned with you. Okay. So if you're committed to their growth, they'll recognize that. And when people start to learn that your organization is one that's committed not just to the mission that you've set up and the vision for your company, but also that you are committed to your team members, when other people hear that, you are going to attract better people. Now, you're also going to attract just people that maybe aren't better. But the thing is, you're going to attract so many good people that you're really going to have the pick of the cream of the crop. And so your organization will benefit. I believe that, and I've seen it. Why does servant leadership work? Well, it builds trust and loyalty with your teams. It enhances collaboration and teamwork. It leads to stronger employee engagement and retention, and it encourages innovation through support and empowerment. So, we can talk a little bit more about this, or maybe you've got questions with it. The building the trust and the loyalty part, I was just kind of covering on the last part where I was saying, that you support their growth. Okay. When you do that, they start to trust you more. Okay. When you've got open and honest communication with your team, hey, you know what? We're short on our accounts receivable this month. Things are a little tight. We're going to have to pick, what we do so that we can achieve our objectives. If you tell them that and you're clear with them on an issue like that, they trust you more. Okay. I mean, you don't have to go into like all the details of something like that, but if you at least tell them, hey, we hit a hiccup or we've got this problem or things are going to be a little difficult, then when you communicate that to them, they understand what the issue is. They understand that you trust them and they understand, where they fit in, or they may not. They may come to you and go, I don't know how I can help with this. But building trust and loyalty within your team requires honest communication. And when you've got that communication and you've got that trust, then it starts to lead to collaboration and teamwork. The people that are all pulling the sled in the same direction are going to start talking to each other. Hey, where can I help? Where can I, and where could you fit in? And could you do this? And when employees feel trusted and when they're communicated with and when they feel part of a team, they're less likely to want to leave and they're more engaged in what's going on there. And then they start to look for ways to innovate. If you trust them to, be able to communicate ideas that they have, if you've got that open communication, they start to innovate. They say, hey, boss, I found this way that we could do this. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But even if it doesn't work, you want to encourage that. You want to say, okay, well, that doesn't work, but what if we do this or take it to the whole team? Hey, John had this great idea, but I can see a few flaws with it, but what do you guys think? And then let the other people help, right? And then you got that collaboration, you've got everybody being engaged, and now you're innovating and looking for more effective ways to do what needs to be done. So we have a couple of uh, people here that are servant leaders, three examples. And one of them is Herb Kelleher from Southwest Airlines. And Herb always put his employees first. And by doing so, it resulted in higher customer satisfaction. And this is something that I believe in too. I take it a little bit further than that. And because I deal a lot with service businesses, though I think that this could go for any business, it could go for retail, it could go for restaurants, and it could even go for tech companies. It really doesn't matter. But I find that it really resonates with the service industry. When I, as a servant leader, am serving my team and I am encouraging them to serve each other and I am encouraging them to serve the customer, then the same integration and happiness that the team members start to have with each other, the customers start to have with the business. Excuse me. Everything that you do for them, if you are doing it with a giving heart, like this is my mission, this is what I want to do. If you can foster that environment within your company, okay, within the organization that you work, that service is key and it's important, then it resonates with people. People will trust you more. People will come to you first, even if you don't have the service that they need, but they think of you first. And that is so key in business to be the first person that pops into your head. For years, when I had my landscaping and hardscaping business, I would receive calls from clients for services I didn't provide because they knew that if it was not something I provided, I would only give them a referral to somebody who had the same standards that I did, that had the same commitment to quality, the same commitment to customer service, the same commitment to, ensuring that things are done right, which is quality, but, it's just so important. So people would call me because I wanted to make sure that anytime they spent their money, they were spending it in a way that was not a mistake, right? That they weren't getting taken, that they were going to have the product or the service that they were looking for. And by being willing to take time out of my day, and I could be really busy, especially during the summer, but I would always say, hey, I think I know somebody that could help you, but let me just give them a call and make sure that they're available or something. And I would take that time. I would serve them that way, and it paid back in just more than sevenfold. It always paid back. Herb Kelleher did this with his employees, put them first. And there was a story, and this went around years ago, and I don't know whether or not it's true, but it is something that I myself have enacted also. I had heard that he had said the customer is not always right. That there were some times where the customers had done things that just weren't right, and he would back the employees. And the result from that, in the story I heard, was that the team members at Southwest were far more willing to do things, go out on a limb to help people because they knew that if it came back and bit them, Herb Kelleher was gonna cover them. So Indra Nooyi, she was in the news several years ago because she'd focused so much on the empathy and the growth for her employees. And it had a lasting impact with PepsiCo during her time there and even beyond. And then we've got Ken Blanchard, the author of The 1 Minute Manager, who teaches to lead through empowerment and development. And empowering your people is not just servant leadership, but it is also a way to increase your sphere of influence. If you empower the people around you and who are reporting to you to do their jobs, then you benefit because you can just give the vision and they're going to find the way to get it done. Okay. And now you're not having to spend all your time dealing with them. And I was just writing a blog that came out today, as a matter of fact, about, empowering your people and the benefits from it. It increases. How to practice servant leadership? Well, listen actively. You want to create a space for open communication. This doesn't mean that, anybody can stop you at any minute of the day and talk with you. It means that they should be able to say, hey, boss, I need to talk. And if you got time, do it, right? And listen to what they have to say. But if you don't have time at that point, make time. Tell them, hey, I can't now, but hey, let's say 5 o'clock, or, you want to stay after work a little bit, or would you like to do it over lunch? Or, you want to find time. And then when you listen, you want to listen. You don't want to be, hearing the first half of what they say and already be thinking up the answer, but you want to be listening and using good follow-up questions to see if you understand what they're saying. And because it could be a gripe or it could be an idea, but you want to make sure that you're listening and understanding what they're saying before you give any feedback. Um, Empower your team. Again, delegate. Give ownership of the task. And with that ownership comes responsibility, right? You've got to have the boundaries. Hey, everything, I always say, everything within this box, They don't go outside this box. Okay, these are your limits, but everything within there, I don't care how you get it done, so long as it, doesn't conflict with our core values, and doesn't go outside this box. You make the decision how that job is done, right? So the box for people is always the core values, and then I don't want people feeling so empowered that they stray into another team member's lane, right? So everything within that box and by core values, you do it how you want, and if you've got a better idea of the way that where you fit into the company uh can work more effectively with another person or another couple of areas, bring it to us. Let's talk about it. Let's find ways to innovate. Recognize the contributions. You want to celebrate success, give meaningful feedback, and celebrate failures too, right? I don't mean throw a party by all means, but failure's good. Failure's one of the best ways to learn. And when I say celebrate failure, I say, hey, Tom there, he took a try at this, and he didn't succeed, but these are the things he learned. And Jane, she was really nervous about this, and first time she went out there, it didn't go very well, but she came back to me the next day and she said, I want to try this again. Right. So maybe she had a failure, but you turn that failure into a success. You can talk about failures if you talk about them in the way that people move past them or that people recognize them and learn from them. So you want to celebrate your successes, celebrate your failures, and recognize the contributions of team, and serve first, prioritize the needs of your team before your own. We'll get to where that's not always the best way, but in general, when you were there, put their needs first. What do they need to accomplish their job? If you or their task, just a task, hey, you're doing great at your job, but you're having a problem with this task. How can I help you? What education do you need, or is there a tool? And if what they come back at you with is something that's viable, then make sure it happens. Okay. The challenges of servant leadership. Some people will misinterpret it as weakness. It's not. Servant leaders need to balance the service that they provide with assertiveness, and really, that what that means is, again, the uh, that box I was talking about, right? Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you all the tools you need uh, within this box for you to do your job. You come to me and you tell me something, I'm going to help you. But if a person strays out of that, hey, this is outside the area where I told you that you were able to do something. So you've got to be firm about, the expectations and the goals, but at the same time, give them the tools necessary to be able to achieve it. There is the potential for burnout, and this is what I was saying we were going to talk about in a moment. You've got to take care of yourself, right? If you're always giving most of yourself to people during the workday, then you run the risk of not having the ability to do anything um, long term, because you start to burn out. And you need to the maintaining of authority. It's essential to remain clear about the goals and the direction, even while you're serving others. And so part of that self-care, but also maintaining that authority is, you are my team. We are all moving in this direction. I'm giving you the tools to get there. But I'm very clear with you. This is the vision for the organization. These are, our values. And, we hire, we fire, we discipline, we promote by these values. Okay. So, you've got to be clear about those things. And that's just doesn't move. Okay. Applying servant leadership in your role. So, how can I serve my team better starting today? This is what I would like you all to ask yourself at the end of this meeting. I want you to identify one area where you could begin to practice servant leadership with your team. And then I would encourage you to start putting that into practice. And I like to talk frequently about Benjamin Franklin, had these lists of things that he felt he was deficient in or that he needed to work on. And he would pick one, usually just one at a time, and work on it until he'd mastered it or eradicated it from his life, and then move on to the next. It's the same thing when you are trying to learn new skills or, sharpen a skill that you have. You've got to pick an area of it and just focus on that until it becomes almost like muscle memory, except, in your mental space, the mental muscles that you have versus the physical muscles that you have. So embracing servant leadership. Servant leadership is a style that focuses on serving the needs of the team before the leader's own, fostering a culture of collaboration, trust, and empowerment. By practicing core traits like empathy, active listening, and stewardship, leaders help their teams grow, resulting in higher engagement and success. And while servant leadership can be misinterpreted as weakness, striking a balance between service and authority ensures that goals are met effectively. Okay, so that is my presentation. And now I would like to see what questions we might have here. So bear with me a minute as I hop in here. I've got a couple of different apps going right now for this. So, um, okay. Um, so how can leaders balance serving their team while maintaining authority and making tough decisions? Well, we kind of talked about that a little already, but yeah, I can be a little more clear, I guess. You've got to balance that service and authority. You need to be able to communicate your goals clearly and effectively, and that means you've got to know what your goals are. You've got to know what your overarching mission is, of course, for the business and the vision. But you need to know what your annual goal, your quarterly, your monthly, even your weekly goal, and you've got to be able to communicate them to people. That you've got to be able to communicate to them what their goals should be, or help them sit down and help them figure out what goals are that are aligning with what the organization's goals are. You need to set boundaries, and that's like to stay in your own lane. Don't be doing Willie's work, or stepping on his toes or something. Um, but you need to be approachable and supportive and be decisive where necessary, but seek input and let everybody feel involved. Okay, so I think that's a good way to balance things, and uh, you'll show the value of the contributions that they make as the organization moves forward. Um, you'll start to see it. It's not going to be an immediate thing. You're not going to see it in a week or two. You should start to see change within a month if you're applying these things consistently. But over time, as you identify the people that this is resonating most with and encourage them, and they will start to encourage other members of the team, it will start to create ripples within the organization. Um, how do servant leaders handle conflict within a team? Well, that's a good question. Um, so you need to focus on communication, uh, understanding what the problem is, and then looking for a way to resolve it. Um, you do not want to rest on your authority, like I'm the boss, and this is what I say, and this is how we're going to do it. That seldom works longer than as a short-term fix. That's a band-aid. And doing the blame game also doesn't work. So you've got to be able to communicate with the team as a whole, either bringing them together or moving around and getting the story. You want to listen to all sides. You've got to foster an environment where it's safe for people to express their concerns or to express, questions about, a policy or something, even ahead of time, right? So that maybe you avoid this problem. But then you need to mediate. You need to find the common goals that everybody has, and I mean the common ground that everybody has, um, and mediate to that point while still, keeping within the boundaries that you've set for everybody. Empathy is big for de-escalation. I've been in so many situations where I can see that one person has maybe dropped the ball and the other person is extremely frustrated, but the person that's frustrated comes at the person that dropped the ball, and the person that dropped the ball didn't necessarily realize that they did, right? And so, when there's that like that tension that's going between the two groups of people, um, you've got to be able to feel how the person that's being attacked feels while also understanding the frustration of the person that's maybe doing the attacking, and then bring everything down, say, hey, this is what I think this person's trying to say. This is what this person seemed to have been trying to do. How do we eliminate this problem from occurring in the future? What communication can we maybe use? And you can ask them, what would work effectively? How do you need to hear this so that you'll understand better what ball you need to bring to this person is usually a good question. Now, sometimes, maybe the person can't give that answer and you're gonna have to come up with it on your own. But the empathy and the understanding, of both sides of the issue and being able to find that common ground is really um, a, a good way to go for it. You want to focus on the root cause. What's at the heart of this? What caused this problem? And then restore harmony. And and also, let me just say this. Sometimes, when there's conflict, there is a person who is clearly in the wrong. And I'm not all the time, right? But there are times where someone is clearly like, wow. Um, you don't want to dress them down in front of the group. You may think that, hey, getting this person to admit culpability in front of everybody else will bring harmony to the team. It won't. Because you're going to cause this person to lose face in front of everybody else, and that's going to affect the way that they interact with them because maybe there's shame attached to it, or maybe there's anger at being called out. It's always best to take those people out, find a way to resolve the issue as best as possible, then remove that person from it and have a private conversation with them, and then ask them, hey, here are our core values. Do you think that what you did, you know, meets all these core values? Because maybe the reason for the conflict is that person's just not fitting in with the mission. Um, so, servant leadership doesn't mean that you just let anybody stay in the organization. And sometimes the way that you serve somebody is to point out to them that maybe they're not the best fit, because if they're not the best fit with you, then you're probably also not the best fit with them. Often a little bit of a tangent there, but okay, let's see what other questions we've got here. Um, okay, yeah, I like this. Can I practice servant leadership if I'm not in a formal leadership role? Yes, you can. You can. You can start to build those muscles by focusing on how you support those that you work with, and empowering your peers and sharing with them, how you do your job and learning from them how they do theirs. Because once you understand those things, you may find ways for you guys to work better. Um, you look for opportunities to help others to succeed. Don't put yourself first. Put the team first or put other people's first. Even if two of you are having lunch and you come up with an idea, start with, I was having lunch with this person, and she had been talking with me about this stuff. And the more that we talked about it, I started to realize that, we had the beginnings of a really good idea, and she brought up this and and then I saw that. And so, make it a collaborative team thing where the two of you came up with it. Don't snake credit, right? You know, and always advocate for a positive, supportive team culture. Okay. So, yeah, I think that's it for the questions. I would like to thank you for uh, being on this video with me. And to the people in school, keep an eye out. We're having more of these meetings. And to my current clients, you're always welcome to let me know whenever you want to attend one of these seminars. Be more than happy to do it. And thank you very much and have a good day.